And we're back again after the dogs. They've now quieted down. Alright, so I'm going to start with explaining the context. So we finished our Fade training. Mouse turned out to be a demon who was trying to trick us so that he could take over our bodies. One of the reasons people fear mages so much is their susceptibility to being possessed by demons. However, this has to be done by like some weird form of consent. So the real test was seeing whether or not you would give in to the problems accompanied with, or the problems that come with temptation. Let's see, what should I get now? Death magic, affliction, hex, weakness, or
Death magic?
Death magic, yeah, it absorbs magic
So
from the dead
metal.
bodies. Yeah, it's so metal. It's the most metal. Okay, let's get that. Alright. And, oh, shut. Alright, so my mouth is still like a little off kilter. Alright, so I think what I was... Well, I mean, let's start with introductions. We both are from Houston, Texas. We went to high school together.
Yeah, we did.
I'm 23, and you are as well.
Yep.
Alright, is there anything you want to tell the audience about yourself?
I have a cat. There she goes.
Anything personal?
Not really. I mean, I guess I could tell them that I'm a trans guy. That's why I sound like a girl, but I'm actually a guy. And I might talk about having a vagina sometimes, but don't let that, throw you off.
Alright, good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can talk to them about your college and stuff too if you want.
Oh, yeah. I went to St. John's College. I
Which one?
studied the great books.
Which St. John's College?
Oh, the one in New Mexico. Not St. John's University, as it is often confused with.
The one in New York City?
Yeah, with the great basketball team. We don't have a basketball team.
Are they known for the basketball team?
Yeah.
I thought St. John's University was just like, I don't know. I
Well,
thought there was nothing really that special about it.
no, they do have a pretty good basketball program.
Oh, okay.
I only know that because people keep... Every time I say I'm from St. John's College, they're like, oh yeah, you guys have a great basketball team, right? No. We have a good cricket team.
Alright, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second
Welcome
to...
the Circle stockroom of magical items. My name is Owain. How may I assist
Oh
you?
yeah, let's talk about these guys. What are they
Okay.
called?
They're tranquil mages. They're mages that either were deemed unfit for the test that we just took, or they said that they were too afraid to take it, and so their connection to the Fade was cut off, and this essentially turns them into lobotomites. They lose all magical talent,
It is difficult to describe.
but they have a certain talent for enchanting.
I do not have
All in all, they're just like kind of dull people. They like their routine. They're kind of like one of the first ethical like quandaries about this world. Well, I guess the whole mages being rounded up and forced into towers is kind of an ethical quandary.
No
On
big
one
deal.
hand, mages are dangerous, but on another hand, mages are people. And so these guys are, they're not necessarily unhappy with their existence, but they're kind of also just like, I don't know. Like when you look at a regular lobotomite, you might kind of feel like that's a terrible existence, even if they don't necessarily mind it. Alright, and so we were called to the Archmage's quarters to... Well, I don't think we know the reason yet. But we were just called there, so that's where we're headed. And I'm just gonna loot random shit while walking around doing that.
Why are the doors purple? Is that like a game thing?
Oh, no, they're not purple. When you press tab, they show you all interactable objects.
Yeah.
When you press tab... Dog! When you press tab, they show you all interactable objects, and the doors turn purple. For no real reason. They just do. You cool? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm just chasing the cat around.
Oh, okay. And so, like, I don't know. I kind of like what's going on in the Mage's Tower, but on the other hand, like, I always feel like it's a little odd to just stereotype mages as, like, these stuffy, like, academic people. I always feel like the attunement to magic should be held outside of a little bit more than just like one's attributes as like a studious person or whatever. I feel like there could be like mages who have certain artistic talents, and that renders them and I feel like one's artistic talent should render them like maybe somewhat attuned to magic. I just feel like there's a lot more they could explore the talent of magic than just like necessarily making it a field that one would study.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last time.
Yeah,
And my feeling still is that while magic might fit in, I don't know how to explain this properly. Like, it might require a certain amount of intuitive capacity or aptitude, or a more like creative mind in the beginning.
But then it takes study to like really achieve it.
Yeah,
Which
I mean, it's
I feel like
kind
the
of
relation
like,
to art could still like follow in that path because like artists have to study quite a bit to get good at it.
yeah. I mean,
Even if they do have
there's a
natural
certain
talents and
creative
aptitude.
element to being a mage anyway.
Alright, so this guy's supposed to be an introduction into elves. So elves, like humans, can develop magical attributes, and they will also be sent off to these circle towers to study magic and what have you. He basically talks about oppression and blah 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 blah, and stuff we'll be seeing later. There's no sense of really talking to him right now, or ever really, because we'll be seeing that later. He just gets kind of like snippy with you, and he's just like, I'm a mage, I'm an elf. That's about it.
That's my cat, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if that's coming through the mic, but there is a cat who is kind of in heat, maybe, and is making quite a bit of noise.
Yep, very noisy.
Okay, so this takes place in like a quasi medieval Europe, specifically Britain. This like takes place like right after what would be attributed to the Norman occupation in Britain. Like this place was ruled by like Other France for a while, and Other France is kind of still in the stages of being the Holy Roman Empire, where it's ruled by an empress and they're very French, but at the same time they're like a religious theocracy empire kind of thing. So now we're in like the head mage's quarters. And so you're starting to see the conflict between mages and the church defenders called the Templars. And the church in this world is much like the church, the Catholic Church in our world was, except they're very concerned about magic, which doesn't exist in our world, but whatever. But I mean, I feel like the what they're trying to draw here is the conflict that the Catholic Church had with, you know, academia in our world. Like, the Catholic Church happened to be very repressive of free thought and studies that contradicted their message of how the world operated. And in this world, you have a church that's very repressive of mages and the like. So I kind of feel like that's the line they're trying to draw between all this. And so I'm supposed to be leading this guy, Duncan. He's a Grey Warden. They fight these things called Darkspawns, which we will be encountering later. To his
Spoiler
quarters.
alert, Jesus.
Yeah, they were in the opening cutscene. So the legend of the Darkspawn is that the mages that invaded the Golden City, the seat of the Maker, and turned into the Black City, as punishment, were cast down to Earth as the first Darkspawn. And then the Darkspawn like took over the Dwarven realms and then searched the surface and kind of like started taking over the world. And then all the kingdoms of man, elves, and dwarves bonded together to fight back the Darkspawn. However, they could only ever fight them back temporarily, and so the Grey Wardens are leftovers. They're meant to wait around for the next time the Darkspawn become active. These times are known as Blights, and
So, we said this last time, but a lot like Game of Thrones idea with the others and the Castle Black.
glad I caught up to you.
Kind of. Yeah, I could see that a little bit. The Darkspawn are probably a little bit more primal, a little bit more animalistic in nature.
Oh yeah, then the others, yeah.
Yeah. And this is Jowen. We encountered him earlier in the last video, but he's this guy that's kind of considered a fuck up and, you know, consistently just kind of prove everyone right in their assessment that he's a fuck up. Anyway, he's afraid that they're going to turn him into Tranquil rather than let him train to become a mage because he's such a fuck up.
We should be safe.
And so right now he's telling us about his plan to get with this lady who is a priest in the Otherworld Catholic Church known as the Chantry, and they're going to run away together because as a priest she can't have like romantic relations, and as a mage
This is Lily.
running for his life they need to run away together to be together. And I'm going to call her Fat Cow.
She's right here. I'm sorry, Lily.
And yeah,
It's all right. I just wonder if this is truly someone you can trust.
you can trust me, Fat
She
Cow.
may be abrasive at times, but I trust her with my life.
Why? Are you guys like childhood friends or something?
Yeah, they tend to imply this friendship, but when you're just a total asshole to him, it's like hard to imagine like why you would stick around, other than, you know, he really just doesn't have anyone nicer to him.
Oh my gosh, it's kind of like our
Take
relationship.
everything that I
Shut
own.
up.
Dreams, hopes, fears, my love for Lily, all gone.
That makes it
You'll extinguish my humanity.
Anyway, so like in this other world, instead of the church being led by men, the church is led by women, because I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of potential for them to dive into like gender politics and stuff like that, but they never really like commit to it.
I won't put Lily
Like it's
through
kind of a
the
cosmetic
same
difference. You have ladies that are priests instead of men, and that's about it. I mean, in this world, however, I guess women are a lot more empowered than they would be in like our world. They never really attribute that to Chantry though.
and we will tell you what we
Like ladies can be business owners, ladies can be adventurers, ladies can be all sorts of stuff.
Are you going to help us?
Let's see.
I understand your reluctance, and I can only beg you won't fire.
Anyway, so I'm gonna be a total dick and turn him in. Just because I can. Fuck him. I'm a total dick to him. He shouldn't trust me to be, like, his friend.
Really not.
Anyway, so, yeah, I guess, so Red Kettle, do you have anything more to say about yourself?
Nope.
But of course,
Really?
Yeah,
I
I'm a pretty boring person. I work at a dog boarding facility. I take care of people's dogs.
I meant to get that plus.
It's not very interesting.
Alright, well, I am in the University of Houston system right now. I'm trying to get my degree in information systems. And, yeah. It'll be nice when I graduate, which I'm projected to this May. That should be fun.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
What, I was projected to graduate this May?
Yeah.
Well, I have to graduate sometime. And I'm just gonna try and find the first enchanter again, because I forgot where he is.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, so of all the origins, this is the most boring. Well, yeah, it's pretty much the most boring, but that being said, you can do some really cool things as mages later, which is why I think it's important to pick being a mage. And people will also treat you like huge asshole because they expect you to be like this evil, demon-possessed, just power-hungry dickwad. And I'm gonna prove them right. Here we go. First enchanter's over here. I walked way farther than I needed to.
I ran into Duncan. You seem to make a good impression. He was... Now, you haven't seen your friend Chowan since this morning, have you? He avoided my gaze and seemed ready to bolt.
You okay?
Know what brought
Yeah,
about
why?
this behavior, would you? Well, I'm there now. Now I know Chowan. There must be no doubt in their minds that she helped him voluntarily. We will catch them red-handed. No.
Alright, so basically what the first enchanter told me is I should help Jowen so I can frame him, and more importantly, the priest. Because mages and the priesthood kind of have conflict.
forgive John.
He's hoping this is a good chance to catch them with their pants down.
Please say you've changed your mind.
Aren't you sick and tired of the circle? You have so much power. Once you're free,
Thank you. We will never forget this. But it is just a door. There is power in this place to destroy all of her
So,
enemies.
what is your knowledge of, like, medieval history and shit?
Well, my mother is a Renaissance and Reformation scholar.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yes, she focuses mainly on important women during the Reformation and how women played a role in breaking away from the Catholic Church.
That's cool. I didn't know anything about that.
welcome
So I
to
don't
the
know a lot
circle
about
stop
medieval
for
times,
magic
but I know a
items.
little bit about the
Rods of
Renaissance and
fire serve
Reformation.
many purposes. I will release a rod to you once I have this.
Alright, so for getting in there... Okay, so mages all have their blood kept in these little vials, so if they ever escape and go rogue, the Templars, which are like the knights of the church, can track them down and kill them or something. Have these things called phylacteries, which hold their blood. Anyway, to break Jowin's phylactery, which is his plan before he escapes, I need a fire rod. To get the fire rod, I need, an order from a more senior mage. Well, this senior mage in question's storeroom is being overrun by spiders, the most generic of fantasy creatures.
I don't know, I think rats are more generic.
Yeah, but rats are like level 1. Spiders are like level 3 to 5.
Touché. Look at this dog. Look at this dog.
So I'm effectively bribing her into giving me the orders for... The audience can't see the dog, I'm sorry. Therefore, I can't see the dog.
And by her, he doesn't mean me.
Because you are not a lady,
Because I am not a lady.
regardless of your anatomy.
Not just any old spider, it's a giant spider.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, all the spiders are giant in Fantasyland.
I think that's a little
What?
prejudice
What, towards Fantasyland?
towards Fantasyland.
I'm sorry, any Fantasylandians.
Oh, this is a poisonous spider.
I know,
think they
it's
mean
slightly
venomous.
different. No, it's actually poisonous because it doesn't inject you with venom. It spits something at you. And since, if it's not intravenous, it can't be venom.
That's not true.
Yeah, no, it's totally true.
That's not what venomous means.
Really? Because I've been told by multiple sources that venom it can only be intravenous.
Poisonous is passive. Venomous is active.
Well, it spits something at you. That's kind of passive.
That's not passive.
It's not passive
That's
for
their
it, but it's
attack.
passive for the poison.
Eh. Eh.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if you eat it. Maybe they're referring to eating it.
But you can't eat it. Can
What?
you eat it?
I don't know. You can't in this game, but maybe in Fantasy World you can.
Do you eat anything in this game?
No.
No.
They're poultices. Well, I mean, I guess you could eat like raw ingredients, like elf fruit,
Oh, okay.
which has minor healing properties.
Dude, you know what I really want to do?
What's that?
I want to play. There's a mod for Skyrim
Okay. Go
where I can't remember what it's called. Is it Frostfall?
on. Maybe.
But it's like where you have to eat and drink water and stuff, or you'll die.
That sounds like something.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
Well, I mean, you never played Fallout New Vegas, did you?
No.
Okay. That's something. That's a game I'm thinking about let's playing eventually. It's not like high up on my list, but you can play hardcore mode, where you're forced to eat, drink, and sleep and all that kind of stuff, lest you suffer effects like dehydration or hunger or sleep deprivation.
That sounds cool. I like that in a game.
Yeah, so do I.
Or at least you have the option, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's actually not all that hard. Okay, so one of the things spiders do is they'll shoot webs at you, and that's kind of annoying as fuck. I hate it. I hate these spiders so much. Oh, and Overwhelm is the worst. I feel like it's a really overpowered attack that they do. Not only are you completely immobilized during the entire period of it, it does a fair amount of damage, and it lasts a fair amount of time, which means anything else attacking you can just do so with liberty.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I think it's a bit annoying.
Oh my god, that's
The
so
web is less
obnoxious.
annoying. But yeah, these are kinds of things that I feel like also rendered the game less fun in people's eyes, is a lot of things can kind of slow down combat and gameplay.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of a slow your roll kind of person, so I'm okay with
I think we should coin a new term.
it. What's that?
Complay. You know,
Complay?
combat. Gameplay combat.
Complay.
Complay.
Sounds dirtier than it is.
Yeah, it does. It could be sexy too. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. If you, like, I don't know, fight naked.
Fight naked. Who
Yeah.
doesn't?
If you bring sword play into it.
Shit, another spider! Get it!
Sword fighting can take on a whole new turn depending on what you're talking about. Alright, so we killed all the spiders, which means we can now get the requisition for the fire rod, which we can then take to the Tranquil, who will then give us the fire rod. Yes.
So obnoxious.
Thankfully, they did not make this dungeon, like, super huge. Because, like, I don't know, just talk about a really boring and hard to be motivated for quest.
Yeah. I mean, why are they even... What is that place? Why is there, like, a freaking cave attached to...
You know, the cave part I never thought about, because the tower is not actually attached to a cave, so that is a little weird.
Oh, the spider's gone.
But it's supposed to be a storeroom.
Oops.
They couldn't, like...
Couldn't what?
I don't know, like... Put some stone walls in there.
I
Make
mean,
it
yeah,
look
just made
nice.
it look like everything else.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Circle stockroom of magical.
Wait, hold on. Did I get it? Did you just give me the fire rod? No. I kill all the spiders. I just need to ask her.
God damn it. Fucked up again,
No, that's
time not
the-
found.
The church. The church. Yes, I know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Can't just talk to her across the table. I have to, like, go over
It's
here.
good to see you again.
Yeah, whatever.
Wow, this
A lot of fun.
roleplay is so...
Yeah, I know. Like, you don't really have a whole lot of options early in, but they do actually give you a fair amount of choices later in the game, and they don't just come to, like, baby crushing bad and, like, saving the world good.
That's something I hated about Fable. It was like...
That's something I hate about, whatchamacall, Fallout 3. And, I mean, yeah, Fable is notoriously bad for that as well, but it's just like, I don't know, sometimes people just act in their own self-interest, and, like, it doesn't necessarily make them... Like, yeah, they'll do really fucked up things, but the motivation is there.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't really care about anyone else, they just, like, it's kind of collateral damage to them.
Yeah.
But then you have games where it's like, you just go out of your way to do really fucked up things to no benefit to yourself or anyone else.
Yeah.
And, like, I just always find that really hard to get motivated.
Yeah, like there was one option in Fable where you could just like turn the castle into a like dungeon, and there was really there's no impetus to be good or evil. There's no reason to it. You don't gain anything from either side. It's just purely aesthetic, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's what a lot of it comes down to, is like, in a lot of games, evil and good are just designed with, like, aesthetic intentions in mind.
Yep.
Whereas in this game, like, and there are also, like, multiple, like, dickish options available to you. So you can build a character that just does things out of prejudice for, like, maybe a certain group or people. So, you okay? Alright, anyway, so I was saying, yeah, just like, and so in this game, I'll show off, like, a lot of the choices you can make, which, yes, are, like, very patently, like, asshole-ish things to do, but, like, depending on which choice you make, you can like contrive a motive to do it. The motive isn't like regardless of what you're playing as, you can probably find a choice that would fit what your character would want to do. Whereas in most games, if you're actually trying to roleplay, you more have to contrive a reason why your character would do that.
Yeah.
All the dangers those cursed with magic pose.
Or just like fall into the hero-villain dichotomy.
And the mage touches it with yes, I got it from a Templar. We have chatted on many occasions. I believe you trust me. The ward only.
Anyways, so she used the password to open this door, whatever. Alright, now use the fire rod to break open the lock. Hence justifying why you went on that little,
Why
like,
isn't it working?
quest.
How?
Now the
What's
rod's
it
not
then?
working.
We're finished. We can't get in.
That door probably leads to another part of the repository.
We can see where this door leads, but I don't think it'll be easy. It looks locked for one.
Alright, so it wasn't really working, but
Giving up.
we have found another plan to come around. And this one, the fire rod should work on.
That's not good.
Like, I don't know, what would you say you look for in a good game?
As it is that.
And a good RPG?
Or just a good game. Like, it doesn't have to be an RPG.
Let's see. I think world building is actually really important to me. I don't really care. Like with Dishonored, I really liked it, even though the gameplay was kind of linear. I mean, there were a lot of options, but
Yeah, I've heard Dishonored's really good.
yeah.
And for that reason, I think I need to try it.
Well, I have it if you want to borrow it. But it is kind of
Get it
linear, you know, you don't get to make a whole lot of choices that really impact
Let's
the
see.
storyline.
Affliction, Hex, Disorient, or Weakness.
I don't know, it's up to you.
Okay, well... Alright, well, Weakness affects more, like, the body stuff. Hexes and stuff are more, like, witchcrafty stuff. This affects more, like, the mind. And this stuff has more, like, to do with, like, being in touch with the life force.
Hmm.
And exploiting that.
Well, let's go with the mind stuff then.
Okay. Disoriented is.
But, yeah, I really liked Dishonored, not for the gameplay necessarily, but because I really liked the world that they created. I spent a lot of time just, like, reading some of the more obscure books and notes that you find, and online, you know, it has its own little wiki, and I liked the world that they created. I thought it was really interesting and kind of a different take on I don't know, it was like oil punk as opposed to steampunk. Does that make sense?
Maybe like what you mean? It's like technologically a society as our own.
Yeah, but the oil is whale oil, so
Okay.
it's a lot more
Questionable.
well, maritime. You know, it's a
Oh,
lot more
okay.
based on being an island.
I see.
And there's still that element of like not super technologically advanced, you know, it's
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, another thing I like about this game is I feel like the introduction of these fantasy elements are dealt with a little bit more realistically than a lot of fantasy worlds. Like, I don't know, it's hard for me to get engrossed into, say, like, Tolkien and stuff, because I feel like the characters and the societies in it just act so unnatural. Like, they all have, like, these certain natures that they fulfill as, like, their species and whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's very uncomplex. Like, elves act very elfish, and dwarves act very dwarfish, and yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
there isn't a lot of room for individuality.
In this game, everyone more or less acts like people. They just act like people with different physical characteristics.
Did
And
he just die?
he got injured, and so he's just laying there being an injured little baby.
Oh, what a bitch.
Yeah, I know, right? He can be injured though. He's a little limp. I don't care. Alrighty. So yeah, he's fine. Okay, so when someone gets downed in this game, oh, it's not doing it right now. Never mind. Guess I'll get introduced later. Anyway, I guess before this quest ends up wrapping up, I should say that one of the things in this game that people associate with demon possession is blood magic, which is something humans can learn from demons. It's not really explained why this makes people more susceptible to possession. It just does. But you can use your own or other people's life force to achieve great power. Through blood, literally. And so this was something that was practiced by, like, Old World Rome in this universe. Old World Rome was a big fan of using blood and shit in all their spells. And so they suspect Jowen of not just being too incompetent to pass his mage test, but also practicing blood magic. So yeah, that's just a little tidbit. You can actually become a blood mage, which we probably will later.
So what
can't get
is
possessed or anything.
blood magic exactly?
It's just like it's very vague. It's just like a school of magic that utilizes the power found within like blood.
But so wouldn't what the Templars, is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Templars.
The magic that they do with the phylactery, is that blood magic? technically?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more like we have your blood and therefore we can find your, I don't know, your shit. Because it's not really casting
Not
magic.
actually your fecal matter.
Yeah, I know.
There's just you.
Yeah, but then your fecal matter, they can pass, you know, they can cast shit magic and,
Shit magic on it.
and find your bowels.
Which presumably are still
Yeah,
connected
presumably.
to- That would be interesting if you could, like, drain yourself of your blood and then
Well-
they wouldn't be able to find you anymore.
Oh yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I feel like at that point you might just like wander into the absurd. Which I mean, fantasy in general is already kind of absurd.
Yeah.
It's just like an absurdity that we're so used to at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that people stick to the Tolkienian tropes is because once you go outside of that, it starts getting a little unfamiliar to the point of
Yeah.
being absurd.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, and the Tolkienian stuff is absurdity that we can all recognize, and therefore it doesn't really harbor that kind of like this reaction from the audience of, oh, this is stupid and weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just always find it kind of weird that the fantasy genre is so, like, stuck to these tropes, because, like, the idea of, like, fantasizing is you create these, like, crazy worlds that couldn't possibly exist in our universe.
Yeah. But one of the reasons Tolkien was so effective or renowned is because he's actually exposing something about, you know, each of the races say something about man.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's something that's very difficult to do.
In literature in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And he does it so well.
Yeah. That I agree with. Let's see. Hold on. That made me think of something. Yeah, I lost it. Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest dichotomy I like in the fantasy genre is between, like, what I've heard called high magic, and I kind of hate that term because it just sounds, like, super pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
And, high magic and sword and sorcery. And so sword and sorcery is kind of like the whole, you adventure and blah blah blah, and you hack things with your sword, and you don't really question the greater context of it all.
Yeah.
And then you have high fantasy, which is like you design these new worlds and societies, and you really try and think about the politics of it all.
Yeah.
Just need to find
Um,
a way to get through this.
and so, I mean, I guess I see Tolkienian more as fitting the sword and sorcery.
We must find Jarvan's phylactery.
Really?
Quickly.
Yeah,
With the
because I don't see them like really delving into like philosophy or politics or anything like that too much. It's usually just like all of that is just to build the context around the adventure, because the adventure is always like the maintained focus.
Really? I had always seen it the other way around, that the adventure was sort of an excuse to talk about the world and the way in which magic affects it or shapes it.
And Tolkien?
Yeah. At least in the books, not so much in the movies.
Okay, yeah, I've only read The Hobbit, which I know The Hobbit's more intended for children than later shit.
Whatever. The Hobbit is awesome.
I like The Hobbit. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like, I don't know. Just a lot of what like Tolkien fans talk about, like being in his books, kind of turned me away from it. Like the fact that he describes like every minute detail and like of what's going around the characters, and the fact that he'll like break into song at certain points.
Yeah.
That's my phylactery.
Yes, it
You found
is.
I can't believe this.
Okay, should we confess that we set Jowan up or not?
Yes.
Okay. We'll play both ends. Why not?
Wait until we're away from this tower? You what? Why? Why would you do that?
Alright, should I tell him that was the right thing to do? Or,
Yes. Or be an asshole.
okay.
Which is the asshole?
I don't know. If I didn't tell him, I would have been punished.
Lie and say you would help us.
Irving made me do this.
Irving, they-
Jarvan, we should go. We can still get away.
Anyway, I'm just gonna let his, moment of freedom get ruined by, intense neuroticism that he's about to get caught.
Sorry, I'm looking at the book.
Yeah, okay. A book that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Too late, Jarvan. We're trapped.
It'll be all right. We'll get
An initiate, inspired, fears.
Oh, this
Nature's
book.
prison. No. Please, no. Not there.
No, I won't let you touch her.
And there's blood magic in action. He stabbed himself, and now he's using his blood. Now he's covered in blood.
Magic. How could you? You said you never.
I dabbled.
So the Chantry hates blood magic, and so she's still a priest, even if she's abetting, a runaway mage.
I'm going to give it up. All magic. I just want to be with you, Lily. Please, come with
I've been there. I've given up blood magic hundreds of times. Always buy that next pack, though. Tasty blood magic brand cigarettes.
You are my mage. Stay away from me.
That was like the least dramatic way you could have delivered that line.
Yep.
Stay away from me.
Blood magic. To overcome so many. I never thought it would take for us.
Thought he was too much of a dweeb for that.
As good as can be expected given the circumstances. If you had let me act sooner, this would not have happened. Jarvan distraught. You helped a blood mage. Look at all he's hurt.
Yeah, Lily should have known better.
Yes, and did you take anything important from the
N-
news about that stab?
But your antics have made a mockery of this circle. What are we to do?
As I said.
Okay, so they were about to, punish me. I don't exactly know how they were going to punish me,
Look for dedication.
but I don't know if you can make a post-mage tranquil. I can't remember. Maybe I should have listened to the dialogue a bit closer. Either way, it doesn't matter. So the Grey Wardens have this thing called, like, the Rite of Conscription, which is this treaty they signed, like, ages ago, that if the Grey Wardens are to recruit someone, they are freed of all legal obligations and yada yada yada, and the Grey Wardens can't be stopped. And so the Grey Wardens step in. Duncan's really impressed with me, and he's like, "You're gonna be Grey Warden now."
Awesome.
Alright, and so this is gonna end our video.